This is a Japanese alarm clock from the 1970s, at a guess, judging by the burnt orange case. Proper bowed glass front though, which is quite nice. As with most Japanese things, they tend to leave these stickers on things. And what's unusual about this one is it's got a music box in it. At first, I thought the music box was like in some alarm clocks where rather than having a bell, you have a musical melody. And they were quite popular in around that time. I think it was just people thought it was perhaps a bit nicer to wake up to a little melody rather than a loud bell. But obviously some people needed a bell. But no, this actually has a bell as well. The music box does a different function, which I'll explain in a minute. You have the bell alarm winding key, a clock winding key, and then the musical box winding key, and then there's a on-off button for the music box and a stop button for the alarm clock. The name of the songs on there, and one of the songs on the music box, is The Maiden's Prayer, which is another popular tune in Japan. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a crack here, which is amazingly, this is actually glass. This isn't plastic. This is a bowed piece of glass, and quite large. I mean, the clock is quite a big thing. It's only a 30-hour or thereabouts running, so you'd have to wind it every day. But what's I find interesting about it is that the music box is triggered every hour, and it plays one of the two tunes alternatively every hour. And you have the option to switch that off. The alarm clock is just that. It's just a bell. If I give this a short couple of clicks, you can hear the bell there. But if I go round with the time, you'll hear one of the tunes. So you get that one, and then the other tune will be on the following hour, which is, I know that one is The Maiden's Prayer. So I think the purpose of it perhaps is if you were studying and you wanted to know when an hour was up, or just to mark the passage of the hour. This is often a feature that came later in the digital clock age in the 80s, where you could have an hour announcing little tune on some of the digital watches and things. But say this is a purely mechanical version of that. You can see the maker there. It's the TOYO CLOX with CLOX. Quite a substantial thing with quite a substantial mechanism, and the music box is actually quite large compared to what you'd have in like little ornaments and things. It's just a bit fancier than that, and interesting that it plays two tunes, you know. But it's very of its time, and despite that crack on the side, in really good condition. It was probably an expensive thing because it does quite a few things when it was new. The thing about it is it's really sort of not too, perhaps more in fashion now than it was a while ago. So probably a lot of these ended up being thrown out when it became absolutely horrendously unfashionable, really. But as I say, it was by no means a cheaply constructed thing, because this is glass, and this is a bowed piece of glass, and it's big. You know, you would have thought if it was a sort of a cheap thing, it would have just been a plastic lens over the front of it. There will probably be a time in the near future when these sorts of things are really come into their own and become quite valuable, only because it really is of its time. There's no denying from the colour and the style that this piece is from the 70s, and yeah, probably lots of them haven't made it this far, but I think it's quite charming, and it's very loud tick. If you had it as an alarm clock, you'd have to be somebody who doesn't mind the ticking of a clock. But I just think it's quite nice. You get a little tune on the hour, which of course you can turn off with the knob at the back. That's what this little orange knob is for. You turn it on. Green is go and red is stop. So that if you were using it overnight, you could turn that hour announcement off. But yeah, I just thought I'd sort of make a little video of it, so I've got it sort of documented. But yeah, I actually don't mind it. It looks better now than it would have done 15 or 20 years ago. So yeah, just and it's nice. It's got its labels on. So yeah, it wasn't expensive, under £20, and it works. I didn't have to do anything to it. It probably hasn't had a lot of use in all those years. It's quite big for a bedside clock, but it isn't just a bedside clock, is it? It does a little bit more, and quickly superseded by an electric radio alarm clock or digital clocks and quartz clocks that came later on. But yeah, a nice thing.